Good afternoon. This is Lowtide with Seeds of Wisdom, and I'm making a recording to help with some information to help people know what to do and what to sell and what to buy in case of a need arises that you would want to put some strength behind your holdings, whether it be gold or silver, and wealth management. So with that, I'll say that this recording is owned by Seeds of Wisdom, wholly owned by Salty Toes, and it is not for financial or legal purposes and should not be derived to be so. We appreciate your listening, and this will probably be about a 30-minute call. All right, so we're going to sit down with my friend named Rod, and he is a corn shop owner in the Midwest, and he does a pretty brisk business. And so I got a chance to sit down here with him just for a few minutes while his shop is open, and that I might share the call and information with Miss Okie and Salty Toes and Miss Pam. So I'll share that and let him talk a little bit, but I was going to ask him to give us the basics of wealth management or wealth preservation, whether it be through gold and silver, or he can even talk a little bit about coins if he so desires. But I was going to have him go through just like I was a newbie or a new customer and didn't know anything. So if you don't mind, Brad, say hello, and if you've got information that you could help us with, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, Lowtide, thanks for stopping in and visiting. Over the last 4 years in this location, we've seen an increase in customers, first-time customers that have never invested or diversified into gold and silver or precious metal. And so we've seen a huge uptick in first-time customers. And in that thought process, there's always a fear factor of, am I doing the right thing? Taking what cash assets or assets I have and diversifying it into precious metal. And historically, I just share a little bit about my personal background before I share with them the types of metals to invest in. And before I owned the shop that we're sitting in, I worked in the professional industry in the healthcare field for a number of years. And in doing so, the traditional investment in 401k, IRAs. But through the years, I always wanted to have a little more security, in my opinion, safety, and diversified some of my wife and I's cash assets into precious metal. So I have always explained that I, just wanted a percentage of what I would have maybe invested in the market, put away and tucked away and hidden at home in metal, whether that be gold or silver. And I haven't necessarily always been a doomsdayer or a major prepper. But I just have felt like my due diligence was to maybe be a little more diversified. In my opinion, one of the safest ways to do that is in precious metal. And so early on in my stacking 20 plus years ago, I would buy 1 ounce rounds, generic, not Silver Eagles, because I didn't want to pay the premium for those. But simply beyond that thought, there are 3 types of silver to necessarily look at stacking or investing in. And what we would call constitutional silver or junk silver is the term that is used these days. 1964 and older, dimes, quarters, and halves is one type of silver to invest in. Generic silver that's made by a private mint or private company, which comes in every type of shape and size and form. And then the third type of silver would be, say, silver American Eagles that are made or minted by the U.S. Mint, which are $1. They're part of our coinage process and system. So those are the 3 silvers that historically I have invested in through the years. more so on the junk silver and on the generic, not so heavily into the silver American Eagle. I have historically always wanted to walk out the door with as many pounds or ounces of silver that I could afford for my $100 or $200 or $500 investment when I walked out the door as a customer. Gold has always been a little pricey through the years, but I think it's important to have a diversification of your metal and not just be all heavy in one or the other.
Yes.
And I have historically recommended about a 70-30,
Okay.
70% maybe in silver, 30% in gold, to be able to capture the rise and fall in both metals when the markets do move. And, here we sit in 2024 in August, and gold is at an all-time high.
Okay.
So gold spot market is, in excess of $2,500 an ounce. It was just a few short year and a half ago, it went past 2,000. And bumped over 2,000, and it's lingered between 1,800 and 2,000 for a long period of time. In the last 6 months, it passed 2,000 and has continued to climb upward over the last 6 months. Likewise, silver has somewhat stayed flat in the mid-20s, 22 to 25. But in the last couple of months, it's now pushed to 29 an ounce. And, but in your lifetime and my lifetime, we've seen silver hit 50.
Yeah.
When I have newbies come in, they ask, which is better to invest in, gold or silver? There's pros and cons to both. But I think if you look at the ratio, how many ounces of silver does it take to buy an ounce of gold? Right now we're sitting at 87. It takes 87 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. If you look at the history of silver and gold, say for the last 70 years, I think mathematically it averages out in the mid-30s.
Really?
Yes. So I fully feel and believe that you can get a better return on your dollar by investing in silver at this time than gold.
Okay.
When will that occur? I don't know. But I fully believe if I was to ask you the question, Lowtide, do you think it's easier for gold to go from 2,500 to 5,000, where it's never been, or silver to go from $29 to $50, where it's been twice in our lifetime?
Yeah. History repeats itself, doesn't it?
And so I think it would be wiser to maybe invest a little more heavier into silver at this time, and that's why I say 70% of your metal in silver, 30% in gold. But, I think the potential is huge for both of them forthcoming.
Can you talk a little bit about premiums and how they've changed?
Premiums, let's go back to 2017 when I bought this store, this location. I think I was selling silver at 65 cents to $1 over spot.
Yeah.
My cost to buy it was maybe 35 cents over spot.
Wow.
So the margins were minimal.
Yeah.
Today, I got a quote on silver, and it was going to run me $1.50 over spot.
Really?
To get it bought.
And that's really cheap, isn't it?
It sounds competitively good. I've seen some a little lower. In the last couple of weeks, I've seen some silver prices that us dealers can buy from our wholesalers at about 95 cents. But it may have been a one-time only, get in and buy it then. You got to seize the moment.
Is that a reflection of demand?
Historically it is, or not just the demand, but also the supply side being maybe so like 2 to 3 months ago, most of the dealers that I am friends with were heavy in inventory. That there had been an uptick in people selling after the Christmas holiday, and all of us were sitting with a very large inventory on hand. In the recent weeks, I've seen an uptick in sales in silver, and the inventory is depleted very quickly. And I think part of that is that the national media. There's been several news articles, even put out by some of the major banks, Bank of America, Chase, J.P. Morgan, Chase Bank, have all acknowledged that there is a short on silver. Anywhere from 180 million to 200 plus million ounces being bought per year, more than what's being mined or brought out of the ground. At some point, the shortage is going to catch up and the price is going to skyrocket.
Can you talk a little bit about convertibility, or you talked about silver and junk silver constitutional.
Yeah.
Would you talk a little bit about how much constitutional or junk silver it takes to make an ounce of regular silver and why that's important?
Well,
both buying and selling.
Buying and selling silver, historically, you can Google the weight of a dime or the weight of a quarter, and then take 90% of that, and that's how much silver is in a brand new Roosevelt dime.
Yeah, okay.
You're looking at close to, I think, 13, a little shy of 13, 12 and a half dimes would weight-wise equal an ounce.
I was always taught it was 14 to 1, $1.40, and that's in everything.
That's pretty close. I mean, I think it's a little less than that mathematically. If you take $10 in dimes, two rolls of dimes, or $10 in quarters, or $10 in halves, that's roughly 7.2 ounces of silver in that $10 of junk or constitutional silver. So if silver's selling, and most dealers sell it not by the weight, but they multiply it by the face value.
Yes.
So it may be 10 times face or 15 or 20 times face.
So right now it's like 19 or 20, right?
I'm at 21. So $210 for a roll of or a row of quarters. So if you take 210 and divide it by 7.2,
yes.
210 divided by 7.2, you're at $29.16 an ounce. That's right at market price.
With no premium.
Well, technically my premium's built in that.
Built in, yes.
Correct. So versus I'm retailing generic silver at $33.50.
Yes.
So
$4.
it's almost a $3.40 savings buying the junk silver versus the generic in my shop. Now that may vary from dealer to dealer based on their inventory and the availability of their wholesalers and where they buy from. I'm $3.50 to $4 above market or spot price on generic silver. Silver Eagles are about 5 to 5.5 above market or spot price.
Because of the demand.
Because of the demand for those. And
now, how easy or how hard is it? I saw you do a conversion with a customer the other day where they bought. Rod sells safes. He sells freeze-dried survival food.
Yeah.
And he sells some coins and other things. But I've seen you take in
for payment,
and then give the man back some change.
Yes.
Or the customer. So is that common?
It is. So the example that you used there, I sold a gun safe for $1,400. With tax, it was 15 and some change. And that customer brought in a 1 ounce gold Canadian maple leaf. So market price was just under $2,500. I paid them a little over $2,400. So after the math, they were due back about $500 in change. And technically, I would have given them the option to get paid in junk silver, or 10th ounce gold, or cash.
Whatever.
And so I paid her back in cash.
So
she bought a safe, paid me in gold. She walked out with a safe and $500 in cash.
To start over.
Correct. So
and that's pretty common.
It is. I've had multiple customers buy freeze-dried food or safes or any other product that I sell in the store and use silver or gold to make the purchase.
Do you see people collecting these as wealth preservation over investment?
Absolutely.
And how do you feel or counsel people about buying collectible coins as in the same mode, or is that different?
You know, I sell collectible coins. The number of true coin collectors are dwindling. The interest in actual coin collecting has slowly died over the last, I would say, 10 to 12 years. If you're looking at wealth preservation, if you're just looking to convert cash assets into a metal, numismatic coins, in my opinion, aren't the best route to go. Historically, you're going to pay a larger premium for that numismatic coin. In my opinion, I think buying bullion, just silver or gold, is more advantageous in the wealth preservation process thought.
But for hobbyists, it's still a very good hobby.
I mean, there are a lot. I mean, if you have an interest in coins, there's so much history in our coinage here in America.
They tell history, don't they?
And so, you know, you look at our coins are beautiful. I mean, I think we have some of the prettiest coins in the world. And you know, I think that if you have that passion, it's okay, but you got to be cautious on what you're paying in premium on those collectible coins. Don't let the desire of the coin beat the fact that maybe you're going to overpay for a coin and maybe not get that back out of it. Or it may be 30 years, your children or your grandchildren may be reaping the benefit of selling it. That's the other thing I caution about. If you're buying coins to collect, and maybe not in your lifetime they're ever going to be sold, that means the next generation needs to be as knowledgeable as you about the numismatic collector value to be able to maximize getting the return when they do liquidate. If it's just bullion, if it's silver and gold that you invest in and pass on to the next generation, they'll be able to go to the market, flip on their phone, go to their tablet, go to their computer. They can see that gold today's at $2,479 spot price.
Wow.
So when they walk in to try to market or sell that item, they got a really close view of the item they had in the hand versus what the market is, and know whether the dealer or the individual is being honest with them on pricing it.
So you would advise your customers based on what they have to sell or spend at that time, and counsel them differently.
Well, yes, and it depends on their passion. I mean, the customer still has to make their own decision. I can give them my insight, my input, and you know, each person is motivated for different reasons and different causes to make the decisions they want, and I'm not judgmental either way. And you know,
I think this has been very helpful.
Yeah, but I think the key is that a little diversification is a smart move.
And it's not just for hard times or bad days. It's to be able to save a little bit to put back in case you have something special you want to acquire?
I think gold and silver is a great rainy day fund. So let me share this last thought. The cool thing about gold and silver, I'll use this as an example. Multiple years ago, tax day, April 15th, was on a Tuesday. I'm sitting in church on Sunday. I get a text from one of my customers. I'm in panic mode. I met with my tax accountant on Friday. I owe this amount. I need to sell 120 ounces of gold.
Oh my.
Can you make it happen by Tuesday?
Wow.
I text him back in church. Give me an hour or two. I'll call you. I called him. I talked with him. By 1 o'clock on Monday, he walked out with his money. So in less than 24 hours, he converted gold into hundreds of thousands and was able to walk out to pay his tax bill. So the cool part about gold and silver, as in real estate is a great diversified asset,
Sure.
it may take 45, 60 days to convert it back into cash asset. Gold and silver can be converted within hours or a day. So that's the cool part about having that diversified asset in your portfolio.
So do you have prognostications and forecasts about where these assets might go in the next year?
Oh yeah, it's made me a liar.
Well,
I mean, I felt like silver should be $60 to $70 an ounce by now, and if you do the ratio, silver should probably be about $62 an ounce right now compared to gold.
But they're not get rich quick.
No, it's not. It's not
change it quick.
No, and it's not to get rich. It's just to preserve. We know the dollar that's in your pocket is growing weaker by the day. Every time they print more, it's worth less. Takes more to buy a year from now than what you can buy today. Gold and silver, you've got a 50-50 chance of it going up. The $100 bill in your pocket is going to go down.
Wow. Okay.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you for the time. Appreciate it. Bye.